like what ended up the funny thing is like what ended up
Just letting you
happening.
know, so in case you don't want to say something on stream, I did start the stream a little early.
Okay, and then we can get started directly at 9.
Yeah. Well,
When
even if a
like
little bit afterwards, like I just put something on Snap about it. I'll probably share on Facebook here in a second.
okay,
So
yeah,
trying
but
to
I
get
definitely
people to jump in more. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I, I know you're good, but I definitely understand that though, man, because a lot of mine came from like what being raw is. It's like, basically when you actually start to look at like have you ever had that thought in the back of your mind like these people ain't really taking me seriously, and that you had in your thought process that I'm gonna start making them take me serious? You ever experienced
Um,
that before?
I don't know if that was the exact thought that went through my mind, but it was definitely something very akin to that.
Yeah, yeah, because oh, my fault. You go ahead.
Oh, I wasn't. I can wait till you're done. So we're good.
Oh yeah, because that was really like part of it. That's why I become like more raw and what's called. But then I realized like, of course, everybody wants to be like taken seriously. Like, who wasn't? Because life ain't always just like laughs and giggles and whatnot. But taking yourself too serious will literally hinder everything in your life.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, no, mine was like I said, very similar to that. But I actually it started with me realizing that people were taking me seriously, and I didn't know it like at first. Like I went from being that awkward kid that didn't really have a lot of friends to the I guess popular kid that a lot of people wanted to be around. And it was around that time that I realized I was like, I want people to take me seriously, so I cut back on the jokes a little bit, and I also realized people were taking me more seriously, just in general. People were paying more attention to me than I was used to.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. And it's crazy because a lot of the times when you actually reflect and you'll be like, damn, like if I would have known that they did, I would have operated I would have operated a lot differently. But I guess that's the beauty of life that you learn from your past.
Dude, that one statement right there, the damn if I would have known, like that sums up all of my life, dude. Like all of it. Every choice I ever made.
I feel it, man. Like I think like one of my biggest issues where was just not taking basically thinking too much and not just taking action.
Thinking too much, not taking action. So kind of like how we talked about in the one episode, taking the leap, that sort of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel that one entirely. Yeah, definitely. That was something cause I'm naturally in my like very basic form a very introverted, overthinking type of person. So teaching myself how to not do that was that took some time, you know.
Hey, definitely. I don't think I actually found like my true. I had just put it on Twitter too. I don't think I found my true form of confidence until like late teens.
Oh, dude, not even late teens for me. I'm not. I get pissed all the time. Like I make jokes to people. Like I didn't hit my charismatic spark until right after high school. I was like, come on, man. You could have even gave me like 1 year with it. Like, come on.
Man, I feel that, bro. Cause I'd have conquered a lot of stuff, but then it just reminds you that like we still basically in the beginning of our lives and stuff
Yeah,
like that. And
yeah,
that's what I love about it. And we gonna take advantage of everything we have now, man.
yeah, yeah, and definitely to double down on what I'm talking about, where like I wish I had my charismatic spark in high school and stuff like that. A lot of things that when a lot of people think similar thoughts like that, they don't necessarily factor in the fact that being a geek back in high school, being the quiet kid back in high school, that led to you being more of a social butterfly later on. It was kind of like a cocoon, you just had to break out of it. And if you were different in high school, you're going to be a lot different now because your experiences were just different.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. Because it's just unique hearing like all the different people. Because you'll hear people literally say like, oh, I did this, this, and that back then. I was more outgoing. Now I'm starting to reel back more, and I'll just sit here like, damn, I am literally the exact opposite of y'all. I'm like, I haven't even got started yet. Why y'all trying to chill for it? Like,
By the way, before we officially start the podcast, you should definitely pull up the stream and make sure like the audio and everything's set.
all right, I got you. I think I actually have it pulled up right now. Let me take it. Like, I'm true. I had put it on Twitter too.
Well,
Yep.
I can already hear you, and I'm almost positive they hear me. So we
Yep.
should be fucking mint.
Yep. Yep. Sounds like yep. Yeah, hearing it come from my phone, we all good.
You wanna know what's hilarious? Like I'm looking at the statistics for the stream. We had 3 concurrent viewers the whole time. I mentioned actually starting the podcast dropped all the way down to 1.
Hey,
Wild,
hey,
dude. Fucking crazy.
for real, for real. But they'll come back though, or a new one will come.
Yeah.
Definitely. But you ready?
I got the post on Facebook out. I didn't really do Twitter because I don't do that too much. It looks like you
Yeah.
hit Twitter, so I'm
You,
just gonna
you can get.
retweet
Yeah. You
yours.
can. Yep. There you go.
There we go.
Oh,
So let's get the show on the road. two
let's
week
get it rocking.
break. I had to take some time to recharge. Quan had to handle some things. Now we're coming back with the absolute hard hitting topic for a lot of people. I know for a lot of people this is going to be fucking dear to them. Even I don't think there's a soul on this planet that hasn't felt some form of this. Take it away, Quan. What you got to say on this?
Man, this topic, unrequited love. I swear, bro, because one thing I've noticed about this is a lot of people may experience this when they're like super, super young, whether it's like some playful cupcake thing versus something actually serious. But it really can be. But once you realize that you have like all this affection for somebody and they don't really have it for you back, it can be devastating, especially when you really don't know what you're getting yourself into.
Oh, dude, it can shape fucking people. It can whole ass shape people to the fucking adulthood. How many people out there do you think are like absolute like lady killing type fucking for lack of a better word, I don't like saying it because it kind of sounds demeaning, but like hoe quote thought that sort of thing. But like
Right.
how many people do you think are like that simply because they had a real bad experience with this early on in their life?
Man, man, I can tell you it is tons of them, man, because even when I see people now, even when I see people now who actually go into this mentality, because unrequited love can literally lead to people being jaded with that whole men ain't shit, women ain't shit type thing. But the crazy thing that I've noticed about this is those same people who may have experienced this have really turned into the people who basically just want to have a cake and eat it too. So you'll see people bragging about, oh, I have this many options. I have a second, a third, a fourth, all lined up waiting for me. But then they'll turn around and say, oh, I could never be someone's second or third option. So they know that what they're doing
uh,
necessarily ain't cool, but they still want to be able to do it.
yeah, it's well, there are people who are gonna do it like subconsciously, consciously. But there's a lot of people out there who just, for some reason, lack the inability to stop and think about what they're doing and not realize that they are doing it themselves. Um, a specific topic that I wanted to bring up. How did you necessarily feel in the situation that, say, dude, girl, whichever fucking way you want to put it, fucking, I don't know, frying pan, They feel that unrequited love for someone, and they kind of have to move on with that, deal with that, move forward, you know. But then the person they felt that for, like later down the line, changes their mind and like looks back. How do you feel in that situation? Because I know in that specific situation, I feel like it goes back to like what you said. Don't fucking ever be someone's second, third, fourth, fucking fifth option. You know?
Absolutely, man. Like it's very tough because it almost reminds me of the people who will be in these situations, and a person will tell you that, oh, I don't like you, you lame, or you have nothing going for yourself, and that may devastate you. Then when you finally decide to move on, whether they feel like, oh, I made a mistake, or I'm at a lower point in life, and I need somebody, and I need somebody who actually understand. As messed up, as harsh as that may sound, some people do hit rock bottom, and then they finally start to look at people like, man, this person really rocked with me for me instead of external factors. But then, depending on who the person is, because I'm not gonna say it always just turned out like this. Most likely, it's too late unless you're some kind of like simp or something like that who just was waiting for them forever or something like that.
Yeah, dude. Unless you're fat and you don't got any other options.
Man,
Don't worry, I had to come up with the fat people thing for you. I got you this time.
yeah, I appreciate it.
Too fucking.
and and the, and also like one example of something that I've seen, especially with like unrequited love. I've seen people literally sacrifice their own like dignity and self.
You still there? You kind of cut out.
Can you hear me?
Hello? Oh, yeah. You
Can
got
you
you
hear me?
got you got a little louder. Yeah, yeah. We can hear you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Sorry about that. It's like my
Yeah.
technical difficulties. But to start over, this person was talking to this girl, and he was pretty much like, "Hey, you want to go out with me and X, Y, and Z?" And the girl literally told him, like, "Let me check all my other options first, and if they don't want to, then I'll
Oh
go with you."
hell no! What? This
Like,
motherfucker whole ass. Let me check the playbook real quick. Let's see what we got lined up. Like, what? What the
and the messed up
fuck?
part, yeah, that's messed up. And the fact that, but the problem with dude was he was on some like high school musical type shit, and was like,
Oh,
well,
oh
that's
dear
still good for
God.
me. Like, no, like
Uh,
no. And but
no.
one thing I will tell to all like the young guys and like the young like boys, if a person like a woman doesn't have the courtesy to be upfront with you and tell you yes or no, then screw them.
Yeah,
Like
go next,
nobody
dude.
deserves to be treated like that.
If you're spending your time wondering, just move on. Like it ain't worth it. We live in a world like to bring it up. Like if you look at Japanese culture, a lot of Japanese like fucking adolescents and young adults, they don't fuck with relationships a lot because they're more focused on like business and career and shit like that, you know. And while American culture isn't quite like that, and not saying American culture should be like that, it just goes to show how much there is in life that you could be doing for yourself outside of chasing this shit, you know?
Absolutely, because one thing people, because I was actually talking to people, someone about that the other day, and they literally said that they just want to have immediate gratification right now. They just want to be able to have whatever they want whenever they want to have it. And I told people, as much as people want to claim that's the better way or that's the way of the future now, one thing that people don't seem to understand is it's all superficial when you do it like that.
It's all superficial. It all come crumbling down. If you start your relationship that way, you can it's a very shallow way to start a relationship, specifically speaking there. Um it creates a hollow foundation for anything other than that, like any career and you just jump into like the first career you find, like, dude, this actually pays a lot. I can get into this and I can get into this quick. It's going to create a hollow foundation for you to stand on. You're going to probably end up hating it by the end of it because you're only doing it for a paycheck at the end. Even if when you start, you're like, hey, this ain't that bad, you know? Ain't that bad isn't your passion, you know?
Exactly. And I'm glad you said that too, because even going back to the aspect of the unrequited love thing, like, let me ask you this. What do you think of when people say, all right, I'm not gonna be with this person. I don't want a relationship, but they have like a friends with benefits type of thing. Do you feel that too much of that is done? Do you feel like it could be okay if it's done the right way? Or you have another perspective?
You see, this one's a little bit harder for me to answer because me specifically, I'm very old school. I am very much that. I have to have like kind of a deeper connection for anything to happen. I'm also very, very known for doing everything in my power to make sure that deeper connection does not happen. So, um, it's a bit of a harder one for me to answer. I feel like always been a big advocate of people can do what they want, you know. But looking at it from the psychological side of things, is there is a lot of things that sex and all that sort of stuff, like intimate, you know, action, you know, does to the subconscious that a lot of people don't like to actually bring up these days. You know, cuddling with
Absolutely.
friends is all good and all, but understand that it is still affecting you in the back of your mind, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because one thing that a lot of people who have the "oh, I can have this many options" mentality don't want to talk about is how actually empty they truly feel after all that is done. Because you can have a high feeling of dopamine or whatever, but once that wears down and you actually go back to whatever you were doing, like you got to look yourself in the mirror and just be like, "Damn, like this really is like hollow. It means nothing at the end of the day."
The the hit of dopamine will go away. Dopamine at its very root is like a drug. You will get you'll get it, you'll feel great, have a good time, but it goes away. And once it's gone, you're left with whatever you used to just get that there. And sometimes whatever you use to get that hit of dopamine isn't exactly something you want sticking around or isn't exactly something that you can continue to derive happiness from. It's a quick hit of happiness almost as opposed to fulfillment.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Because the quick, like immediate gratification versus the delayed gratification of certain things, I'll tell you, delayed is always better because once you felt like you've accomplished something, like it will last you a lifetime. Because even putting myself like out there, I've dealt with people who were superficial before, and it almost like wrecked my mind, and I had to take hella time to reset. But once I actually started to cut that out and started to focus on, like you said, like the solid one-on-one foundation of things, that's when I actually started to feel more satisfaction because ultimately, like you only know what you want deep down. And I truly don't believe that at the core of almost every human, because there are some like cold, shallow people out there. But I believe most people don't truly value superficial things. They're just scared to admit that.
I feel like it also has a lot to do with how society is presented to us now. A lot of society presents itself in a way that like you should want these things. You should long for these materialistic things. You should long for these hollow moments that seem good, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
absolutely, man. Yeah, you're right. Because even going back to myself, like I'm the kind of guy. especially when it comes to like getting to know people. Like you can meet people in groups and whatnot, but in order for me to truly rock with you, I have to see what you're like one on one. Because anybody can act different when it comes to being around people. But once I see like your true behaviors, like what you truly rock with and your mannerisms, that's when I can be like, all right, either you solid or you gotta go.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel that cuz a lot of people they get used to you in a group, which is you. Like I'm not going to sit there and say like when you're out with your boys and stuff that isn't you. That is you, but you act differently in different situations. And then specifically in the relationship side of things, you need to understand how people are when they're alone because that's how you're going to be spending a lot of time with. But at the same time, you need to understand how they are with people. 'Cause, I've specifically been in a situation where like I originally didn't know this, but the chick started liking me a lot, and so she's actively set up times for us to like hang out on our own a lot, like a lot. So the side that I knew was how she was, alone and stuff, and that's what I kind of fell for. But then when she got around her friends, dude, oh my god, was she a fucking animal? And I fucking that wasn't my type of thing. I wasn't down for it. I wasn't down for like, the sweet kind of, nerdy chick at home, but then as soon as she gets around everyone, she's fucking railing lines off a fucking hooker's ass. So like I wasn't here for it. That's just
Oh,
wasn't the play. So like you got to know both sides. One thing I do kind of want to bring up, I hate to like cut off where we are in specifically in the conversation, but we are kind of trailing a bit. In
huh?
terms of the unrequited love, unrequited, whatever the hell you want to say it. How do you feel in those situations where there is a lot of times someone does genuinely like get to know someone and all that stuff, and they do genuinely they take that step past liking someone and move it a little bit further before anything actually ever happens. And then they end up in a situation where the other person just doesn't want it for whatever reason, whether it be shallow, whether they don't specifically like them, or what have you. How do you feel in those situations? Like how do you feel they should go about it in those situations? And how do you feel you or how do you think that affects the mental state rather?
Um, I'll say it definitely can. It definitely basically it can crush you to know that like all right, I put all my time and I put all this effort into this person, and they just said basically go away. I don't feel the same way. But one thing I will say about those people is don't dive headfirst into things. Like, of course, we all know everyone can say we're human and whatnot, but a lot of people are misguided and they don't have people around them to tell them like, "Hey, yo, did you even talk? Did you talk to this person? Did you tell them how you feel? Did you do too much and scare them off?" They don't actually have that proper like, hey,
Yeah.
like don't dive headfirst into things. They don't have the people around them to tell them
They don't have the people telling them that the best way to ask a girl out is not jumping on the table in the lunchroom and performing a musical number.
that. Right. Like don't come like or don't don't go to the damn mall and spend $120 on gifts for a person who just hasn't even said one word to you.
Ooh, buddy, the simp, the simp. Oh boy, yeah. There's
And
definitely
honestly,
those out there. Hmm?
man, yeah, and I feel it because it's so funny because even when you see it on like TV shows, that's how literally some people will act. Person, whether it's a boy or girl, hasn't said one word to them, and they'll spend money and they'll just give them some random gift, and they just say one word and they say thanks, and
That's
and that
literally all
shit
they
literally
have to
sets
give.
them on cloud nine.
Fucking, that's all they have to give, dude, and that's all they ever get because that's all they have to give. It's an endless fucking cycle. This is why work on yourselves first, boys. Be able to give something more. Yeah.
Absolutely, but in the grand scheme of things, to spin it a bit, I have a question for you.
What's that?
what would you say to the people, as far as on Unrequited love, the people who may be on the opposite side, they know this person feel this way about them, but they don't feel the same way. However, they use that feelings to take advantage of them, and they just go along for the ride.
I ain't got much to say to them because that's just fuck. If you know what you're doing, you're just a fucking cunt. Like, I'm sorry, you click off the podcast now, you unsubscribe, write your hate comment. You're a bit of a fucking cunt. Like, I
Oh God.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yes, yeah, because I'm gonna be, yeah, I for my fault, well, because I'm gonna be
Yeah,
blunt about that, because it is too many people who recognize that, and they'll literally be like, all right, I'm gonna use this person, like I'm gonna go to some fancy ass restaurant that they couldn't afford themselves. They don't get a bunch of designer clothes that they don't even will fucking wear, and then you say, all right, I'm just gonna keep them hanging around just because. Those kind of people who do that, I'm gonna make it real plain for you. You are one of those ain't shit people. You put yourself in that fucking category
yeah,
because
fucking
that ain't
exactly.
right. But you want to cry when it's done to you.
Yeah, actually. Though I will say there is some degree that could be said that you know the other side of it has they allow it to happen most of the time. Like after a while, if even if you're fucking head over heels for this person, after a while if shit ain't happening, you just gotta go. And that's another point I'd like to bring up on the unrequited love, specifically on the other side of it where you're not the one who has the feelings, the other person does. But say you're not taking advantage of this person, but you do like that person as like a friend, and maybe even a close friend. This is where it kind of gets a little rough because simply put, life ain't fair.
Yep.
You're gonna have either if you genuinely want this person to be fine and not like constantly think about it, you got to move on, or you got to let them move on. Because realistically, if you're stuck in that position where you are fucking like borderline in love with this person that you're not with, which it happens to the best of us,
Oh yeah.
um, you got to be able to separate yourself from that. Even if you guys are like the best of friends and like there is no like simp sort of thing going on, like you're not sitting there dropping money on them all the time, or even if there is no like incel sort of thing going on, like your whole ass just genuinely being friends. Those feelings will still be there. The person will still have them. You will still have them. Sometimes you just gotta move next. It ain't fair. Yeah, it sucks. You lose a friend, possibly even a fucking amazing friend over it. But they just can't for their mental health. Some people will. Don't get me wrong. Some people will continue to stick around and fucking truck that shit like a goddamn tank.
Yep.
But it fucks with you mentally to be in that position. And sometimes it's tough. It's not fair, but you're gonna lose a friend. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And the aspect that I actually wanted to bring up just to add to what you were saying is when you don't know how to deal with the like unrequited and not knowing how to let go and move forward, it literally creates those feelings of bitterness, resentment that most people don't know how to work through or move forward because it's okay to be bitter. Everybody has at one point in time, even though people will try to make it seem like it's not. But when you don't have the right people around you to be like, okay, like I understand this happened, but you got to move forward. You will literally walk around thinking that everybody owes you something and that everyone is supposed to change their behavior to accommodate you because you went through something. Life doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's okay to be bitter. Don't take it out on other people and feel the bitterness, move on. It's okay to be bitter about something. It's not okay to just be bitter. you know, don't
Oh yeah.
don't decide like, oh fuck, they didn't fall in love with me too. Don't sit there and decide like this is it, dude. I am actually Sasuke from fucking Naruto now. Like, don't fucking do that, dude.
All right, you go like don't be out don't be outside old girl window with a damn kunai and shit. It ain't worth it.
Don't be sitting on top of the fucking building looking at the school getting ready to fucking go a full Itachi on every kid in the schoolyard.
Yeah, brother. You don't want to do that. It ain't worth it. Man.
Like, just move on, dude. Hell, even if you gotta start over, sometimes, most of the time, that new life is fucking 10 times better. Even if, like, even if you don't feel like it's better, like if you stop and objectively look at it, like sometimes human feelings are fucking whack, yo. Like you can
Mhm.
genuinely feel like sad, depressed, fucking like you want something, you're longing for something in life. But if you stop and objectively look at what's going on in your life, what your life is, sometimes that shit just is objectively better. Like it
Yeah,
just is what
absolutely.
it is. Most of the times it will be.
Oh, yeah, and another thing I wanted to add too, especially basically coming off the rebound, as far as unrequited love, re- there's nothing wrong in a sense with being free spirited. But the problem is when you actually don't learn from what you did and think that taking the same route is gonna help you. Like you fell head over heels for a person, you went in 100% and you got crushed. Doing that same thing 9 times out of 10, hell, maybe 10 out of 10 will not work. You gotta realize what you did, switch some things up, reestablish yourself if you have to, and you will feel a whole lot better. Like I even had to do that before. When some people had certain things confused, and I reestablished myself, and that literally brought a whole new light to my mentality and everything else around me.
That's no truer words have been spoken. Hello?
Yep, I'm here.
Uh, thank you. Hello. Bye
Yeah.
bye. Sorry,
Yeah.
someone just walked in my room and handed me Starbucks.
Okay. Man, had
My roommates are wild.
had to keep the energy up for sure, for sure.
Um, but yeah, that was absolutely beautifully said. Like I've been there too. I'm not gonna lie. I was the nerdy kid in high school. I was the kid who fucking formed a puppy crush and fucking borderline fucking fell in love before I fucking even like even let the chick know that I had that feeling. Don't do that. Just don't, dude. Move on. Fucking.
Absolutely.
I grew up and matured, and like while I'm still not someone actively seeking someone, like I said, I have a reputation for making sure those deep connections do not form. I ain't gonna lie, like it may sound a little egotistical, dude. I'm hit on like fuck it at least 2 to 3 times a day. Like, just move on, dude. Go find something else. You human minds are whack, dude. Even if you don't think it works that way, you can fucking fall for just about anyone. just, you, you just gotta you just gotta be willing to try on that new pair of shoes, buddy.
Absolutely. And also for the people out there, whether they're like our peers or hell, even people that are younger, before you actually start to get into that whole like love type phase, you have to know who you're actually getting into it with first. Because I know things can look beautiful and flowers and roses when you first meet somebody and you're in the little cupcake phase, but you will be devastated once you get to know them and you just see that they're just a piece of crap like under that. So know what you're getting into before you dive in headfirst.
Yeah, actually. And realize that like 9 times out of 10, even if a person isn't a piece of crap, and you think like the best person in the world, people, as much as it's terrible to say, are interchangeable. There's someone else out there just like them, if not better. Like, is that the whole idea of the one? There is no the one out there. The concept of the one, you gotta make that. You gotta find that yourself. Put in the effort to do that, and I promise, falling head over heels for a chick before they even know that you like them, as much as it's hilarious in the fucking like TV shows and animes and it's good for drama and stuff, it ain't good for your life, buddy. It just ain't.
Man, especially
You're about
in
to
a
catch yourself
world.
living like fucking Clay Jensen.
Yeah. Oh damn! I did not expect you to say that, bro. You had he had to go savage on that last one.
You already know, dude. It was getting a little too serious.
Yeah.
To pull it back a notch.
Oh yeah, you definitely don't. Yeah, you definitely don't want to be. You definitely don't want to be one of them. Like hell, even or Cookie from Ned's Declassified.
Oh, dude,
She.
fucking. Man, fuck. John, even just Cookie. Ned, too, dude. They both did it.
Oh my god. This man.
That ain't the play, boys.
Yeah. This man had an opportunity. This man had an opportunity. This man had an opportunity to talk to Elisa, and she had like 6 or 7 dudes lined up, and he got right in the back of the line. I'm like, no, like get out that damn line. Know your worth.
Fucking. Holy shit, dude.
Them, that is
This
it,
is fucking wild, dude. People are wild.
man. Them shows, them shows to show you something, man. But at the end, it'll definitely teach you a lesson if you let it. For sure, for sure.
You know, can we also talk about, like, how a lot of, like, media and stuff, like, glorifies persistence in these situations? Like,
Oh,
just think about, like, watching Naruto, dude. It took until the end of Shippuden for this man to stop trying to get with Sakura, even though she said no. Whole ass no. Like, persist. Yeah, sometimes persistence is nice. It ain't worth it. And also, if a girl does tell you no and you keep trying, it gets to a point where you're pissing the girl off, dude. Just stop. Just fucking stop right now.
exactly. Like it ain't no secret code talk about how yes means no and no means yes. Like if she just says no, move the hell on. Like stop wasting your time.
Even if she's trying to like fucking, you know, throw hints or fucking play hard to get or anything like that, it ain't worth it. Just fucking keep it fucking rolling, dude. Most of the time, it's gonna drive them insane if you don't fucking give them the fucking satisfaction.
Absolutely. And it goes back to what and it goes back to and it goes back to what I said and it goes back to what I said before. If a person doesn't have the courtesy to be upfront with you, then move on.
Yeah, for real. Like, I promise it's awkward telling people no. It can be very, very awkward, especially if they just fucking drop their whole life in front of you. Like, but sometimes you just gotta be like, yo, it's kind of awkward, but like, no. Like,
Absolutely. And recognize too that you don't necessarily owe anybody like any elaborate explanation on why you told them no. You're allowed to just say that and just move on.
I'm actually glad you brought that up too, because that's very fair. It also trails off to don't feel like you owe them anything. Like, I remember one time I was talking to this chick, and she was telling me about how, like, this dude got real upset 'cause she wouldn't fucking sleep with him. Started literally throwing, like, an actual fucking fit, and by the end of it, just to stop him, she slept with him. Dude, what the fuck? No! Don't fucking do some shit like that! Like, what the actual fuck?
What the fuck?
Yeah, yeah, that's an actual story I fucking heard. Like,
Yeah,
what?
that is a damn that is a damn shame. Like like we got like people gotta grow up, man. I'm like you over here looking like a second grader who mad he couldn't get that Twix bar after lunch.
Fucking just start throwing a fucking fit, dude. Like, what? I I remember hearing that story. I was like, I ain't never heard some shit like that before, and it worked. You excuse me, like you didn't throw this man out the house. Like,
Bro, I'd never heard that before. I know a few people
yeah,
who probably gonna try to use that now.
dude. If I hear one more story like that, dude, and it's rough because it's actually like it's so rough because we're sitting here laughing our asses off at it. How many girls
Mhm.
out there do you think actually have stories like maybe not exactly as crazy as that, but are almost fucking exactly the same?
Man, it's a lot of them who have modesty. It's people who literally told dudes no, and I think they got physically assaulted, and it's messed up too because most people will just be biased and not actually understand that if a person doesn't want to do something, they don't have to do it, and people will get either hurt or worse simply because they don't want to make a decision. Another thing, recognize too that you don't own people are not property.
No, not at all. Especially that's a big thing that we go back to like those simps you were talking about earlier. They'll sit there and spend like so much money on a chick and stuff like that. That just because you bought them property doesn't mean you bought them. Like they don't owe you
Absolutely.
shit. You're the idiot that did that. You know,
Yeah.
even on the most basic like not simp level, getting someone a gift and that stuff is it's an attempt to attract. It's an attempt to like. It's kind of like the peacocks do when they fucking throw up their fucking feathers and all the fucking colors and shit. That's kind of what that is, right? And like sometimes it
Yeah.
just don't work. Don't do it again. Like, fucking,
Right.
if it didn't work the first time, why are you gonna do it again and again and then get pissed when nothing comes up? Like, god damn it,
Right. Like that's the definition of insanity. Like
fucking for real.
man said, I spent $40 on that damn bear. And she got the nerve to not tell me nothing. Like, man, get over yourself, fool. Hey, no, I made you buy that damn big ass build a bear.
Yeah, fucking seriously. Build a bear. Build a bear is not getting you any puss, buddy. Like, if she was, odds are, if you think Build a Bear got you some puss, that bitch was already giving it up before the Build a Bear. Like, I'm gonna level with you. Like, fucking,
Yeah.
most
Mm-hmm.
of the time, girls know what they're doing by the end of the night, based off of the first couple minutes of the date. If you got her Build a Bear and she liked that, I promise that wasn't the turning point. Like she may
Yeah.
have, she may have loved that bear. That bear may like be like in her room and on like a pedestal, dude. But that bear didn't change her opinion. Like what was happening was happening. Like
Right. Like I swear, man, that should be definitely a trending topic. I wonder how we felt after that story. Said I finally got some off Build a Bear. Like there would be some funny ass stories if someone actually had that for it.
bro, I just got the
Oh.
fucking bear and I got laid. God damn.
Man. That would be funny as hell. But overall, like my final thoughts definitely is like when you actually have these feelings, they're okay. Like it's bound to happen. But when it comes to dealing with them, recognize when you may be over your head, learn how to work through them and move forward if a person doesn't feel the same way. Because you don't want to be left with bitterness and resentment.
Yeah. Yeah, as much as it's a nice little romantic thought to think that people are, you know, that person is, you know, something more. I hate to say it. People are like they're saying that there's more fish in the sea. Yes, people are very much just another fish in the sea, and they ain't even like They ain't a named fish. They ain't like SpongeBob. They ain't Patrick. Like they're the
Right.
fucking they're just the fish, dude. The fucking lanky ass fish. They're interchangeable. You'll find another one. Hell, a lot of times you talk about people who have been with a lot of people, and they talk about good things about each one, even if they're wildly different people. You know, this may just be like another experience, another fucking journey, another fucking game mode. You know, you might just be playing another game mode, going from like a rave chick who like likes to get fucking do drugs and shit, and fucking sit in the fucking colorful lights, to the stay at home fucking reading chick. Like you're just playing a different type of game, buddy. Like
Absolutely.
they're just.
Absolutely.
And
I'm
then
on my phone.
on the other end, as despite the common belief that like all guys are the same, as we talked about in the Jaded Ain't Shit uh, episode on your
Mentality.
channel. Yeah, the Jada ain't shit mentality on your channel.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. If you keep going for the same guys, yeah, they are the same. But like, you can get the fucking half naked dude dancing in the fucking lights on drugs. But you'd also get the dude who just wants to play games. It's completely different. It's interchangeable. Ain't nobody that special. As much as it fucking kind of sucks for some people.
Absolutely. So just take a look at yourself in the mirror, reevaluate some of the things you do, reestablish yourself, and come back stronger.
For real. Don't let no guy, no girl, no fucking Apache helicopter. Don't let none of them fucking trip you up.
Yes, sir.
But so we did we do got a few ideas for next podcast up on here. What are you thinking you want to tell everyone that we're doing next week to tune in for?
Well, it's a few on here, but I know you said the one specifically was on your mind was the
The
talking about people shallow
shallow
mindset.
mindset. Yeah, I see you in there right now. I
Yep.
got it pulled up too. Yeah, so
So
we
we
do the
can.
shallow mindset. That'll actually play off this one pretty fucking well too.
Yep. I'm definitely down with that for sure, for sure. And it'll definitely, and I can't wait to do it because this one right here, this was an amazing conversation for real.
Yeah, yeah, I had a good time with this one. Um, I can't wait to step outside of my room to like the 5 people in my fucking living room, and they're all gonna point and laugh because unrequited love, and that's literally all of my friends like to make fun of shit like that for. So I can't wait to step out there and see how this goes.
They're gonna be like, haha, like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
no, this is actually what's gonna happen. I'm so fucking excited for it.
absolutely. And I'm glad I could help you.
All right, so shallow mindset next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Can't wait to see you guys there.
Absolutely. Peace and love.
And we are